Go back throughout history. We have not always lived like this. There has been other ways. For the vast majority of history, really only up to the last 200 years or so, most people were farmers or tradespeople, farming crops on their own lands, or the lands owned by the lords they were subjugated under, or fishing in the sea, the lakes and the rivers, using local resources to maintain their businesses. Now of course the vast majority of the land is owned by someone, and even the lakes and the sea has rules and regulations stopping you from fishing. Under this system, to simply occupy the land itself where you live costs you vast sums of money. But most people don't think of their property as land. They think of it as a house. So the majority of people will purchase a house, a large coffin of brick or stone, or both, and then spend the next 30 years or so paying for it. So you're forced to work, probably in a job you despise, just so you don't lose everything you have. Are we really comfortable with a society that forces people to do something they hate, simply to be able to make enough money to scrape by and feed their family? When the choice is removed, this simply reduces people to the level of slaves, and there is no getting around this fact. Of course, most people are that deluded and captured by the system, they simply cannot see things like this.
Of course you need to work to survive. No one else is going to work for you. Do you really expect someone else to work to support you?
Of course, all they're doing is presenting a false dichotomy. To them, it is as simple as, well, you either work, or someone else has to work for you. They are so helplessly tied to the idea of wage slavery, even though they would never call it that, or even think of it like that they are simply incapable of thinking any other way. Why should anyone else work to support you? This falsehood is predicated on the presumption that society must function like this, because there is no other way it can. Of course, it's patently obvious to anyone with an open mind, and even a superficial amount of historical knowledge, that there are hundreds, if not thousands of ways a society can be organised. The state of technology today is as such that we can provide domiciles, feed, hydrate, supply power to every individual for a fraction of the cost we pay today. In fact, for less than half the price of an average house, we can buy land enough for 8 people, and all of us can have these things with change to spare. We will be elaborating on this in great detail in the next series. Now, most people often refer to Marxism and state quite rightly that Marx and others made the same predictions, but this was over 100 years ago, at the turn of the 19th century. Humans had mastered a number of important engineering principles and were building steam engines, steam trains, steam-powered water pumps to bring clean water into every home. They were building sewer systems, installing electric lights, and building power stations and electricity infrastructure. Ships that could circumnavigate the globe. It is easy to see how these people must have thought that technology was improving at such a rate that soon we would all be living in a socialist utopia. In the 50s, people thought that soon everyone would have their own robotic helpers. Electricity too cheap to meter because of nuclear power and other pipe dreams. So what happened to dreams like this? As it turns out, they are actually not that wrong. It is a lot simpler and a lot cheaper to make a machine to do individual tasks for you than it is to build one machine that attempts to do all of them by mimicking human movement and behaviour. Look around your house. If you have a washing machine, a microwave, a dishwasher, anything like this, you already have robotic helpers that just look a little different than the way the dream was imagined back then. Now we live in an age where we don't even need power stations, and if we had a little more land, we wouldn't even have to buy food. But it has taken over 100 years to get here. Solar power was first invented by the French physicist André Edmond Becquerel in 1839. He studied the solar spectrum, magnetism, electricity, and optics. He is known for his work in luminescence and phosphorescence. So this technology is actually ancient in scientific terms. Yet, it is only in the last 10 years or so that it has been taken seriously. Now, a lot of this is down to high-level physics and chemistry work being done, and available materials to perfect the techniques and manufacturing process. But it just goes to show you how long a good idea can take to come to fruition, when the profit incentive isn't instantly apparent.